Thak. Welcome to Thak Ironworks. Today we are doing an interesting experiment and something that I have very little experience with. If you're a regular viewer, you may have seen a few months ago I did a promotional video for the VEVOR. Let's assume VEVOR. They sent me an anvil and I did a little run through as to how it performed and came up with a pretty good thumbs up on that. They liked my video so much that they asked if I would promote more of their products. They asked me to take a pick, and what I picked was, reading off their description here, the VEVOR 12KG Propane Smelting Furnace Kit Melting Furnace Double Burners 2700 degrees Fahrenheit. What a mouthful for a title, but very descriptive. So that's what I got. Wanted to do some metal casting. I work a lot with silicon bronze, and we have a project coming up which I've been meaning to do for about a year and a half now, and that is a gladiator helmet. I've been trying to get to that, but the logistics of running my business and all the other things and the channel itself and just everything has gotten in the way of that, but we're finally ready to get going at this helmet, which I know a lot of you people are excited about. The way I was going to do it was much like I did the cauldron about a year ago. I did an experiment with taking a thicker piece of silicon bronze and hot dishing it to make a bowl shape, and I want to do that for the helmet to make a one-piece bowl for this helmet. But then I got thinking, I've been accumulating quite a bit of scrap bronze over the years, and I keep saving it. So every time we're cutting pieces out, this stuff is fairly expensive, so we save it, and I've got like buckets of these little scraps here. So with the intention that one day I was going to start trying to recast this stuff. Incidentally, I'm not sure how that's going to work. We're going to be just putting this in the crucible plain raw, and I'm not sure how well this stuff is going to melt down and then pour, if we're going to end up with porosity, oxidization, if we should be adding something like dolomite or borax or something. I don't know. So this is a wide open experiment. We're just going to see how things play out. I had my assistant Fish, who's had a little bit more experience casting than myself, set up a little thing here with some sand. We have some very fine casting sand here, and I'm taking my disc here and we've made an impression in the sand of that depth with a little sprue here to pour into, and we're going to try an open pouring and just see if we can pour something roughly like that, from which then I could use that to pound out and make my helmet bowl. That is the premise. So let's see how this actually works. I'm going to get my assistant Ethan to step in here and get this thing lit up. We're going to just kind of work at this together. He was playing with it yesterday and had it running, so I'm going to let him light it up, see how it goes. We'll get our crucible in, and we're off to the races. Here we go. This is the sand we are using for our casting. If you're looking, this stuff seems to work quite nicely. It's expensive, but it really works for fine detail. Not that it matters for what we're doing right now, but if you're doing more intricate casting, this is the stuff you want to use. Okay, am I going to be in the way? Take the lid off and say, Eric, you feel me?
Yep.
Here goes nothing. Issues. Okay, so some things went wrong. Our sprue wasn't designed too well, I don't think. It was, it started pouring off to the side, so we didn't get it all into our disc there. We'll just let things cool off for a couple of minutes and then we'll examine. All right, in a second I'll talk a little bit more about the VEVOR furnace, what I got with that. This is our add-ons, what I had my assistant Fish made up yesterday. In his infinite wisdom, this is what he designed to pick up the crucible, get it out of the furnace. So this was just a modified pair of tongs, and that seemed to work quite well. He also made this elaborate little contraption here, which grabs the crucible and gave us two people nice control to be able to get everything pouring quite nicely, and that worked well. Looks like our casting worked, our mold worked quite well, except the sprue. For whatever reason, when I was pouring, perhaps we were pouring a little too fast or whatever, and then it came out to the side there, or perhaps we should have had a little bit better of a dam, so it didn't flow all the way in there, and we lost a little bit. We've got this little leg shape here, so we'll let that cool off. We can talk a little bit about the furnace here. First impressions, I am very impressed with this thing. This thing is listed on the website at $292 Canadian, which is pretty cheap. I was looking at building one. Perhaps if you remember, if you're a viewer of mine, we had Patrick in a couple years ago and we did bronze spearheads. And his little setup was something that he had built himself, and I had in mind I was going to get an old barbecue tank and actually build one. I couldn't have built it for cheaper than $300, especially including my time in it. So first impressions, this thing functions very well. There is no problems. It's easy. We basically just put it together and it works great. So I'm going to give this another thumbs up to VEVOR. Great product, and thank you for asking me to sponsor. Now I have this cool tool which I am going to use. Need to learn a little bit more about the whole logistics of casting, obviously, but all in all, I'm not too upset. Okay, pull that out of there. Looks like we've got some porosity in the casting. So I would say this is not a successful cast, but certainly a good experiment and something we can easily try again and see if we can get it right. But for today's purposes, I think I'm pleased. I understand the process a little bit better now. I'm going to do a little bit more research, see if I need to add some additives when casting silicon bronze, what the best approach on that is. I haven't done any research as of yet. In the comments, if you are more of an expert on this than I am, I would certainly love to hear, and if you could point me in the way of some resources, that would be helpful. But hopefully this was helpful to you. So that's the conclusion of this video. I think a successful experiment. Obviously I need to do a little bit of fine tuning, but I'm quite pleased, very pleased with the product. Thanks to VEVOR for sponsoring this video, and going forward I'm hoping we can do more of this thing. Love to hear your comments on this one because I am admittedly outside of my wheelhouse. But I am having fun and I am trying to learn and experiment. So catch us next time. We are diving into the Gladiator helmet. This is one that I've been wanting to do for a very long time, and I think it's going to be quite an exciting build. So stick around. I will see you next time. Back out. See ya!